come kick with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9, it's Tingle and Co. What up, Noah? What up, Lloyd? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the check and shit out to them. Not trying to ball like Big Four, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do your dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back and turn Matthew to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9, come kick with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9, it's Tingle and Co.
You can still hear me. Good morning. Welcome in to a new
Bahamas edition.
Interesting looking. Yeah, a little Bahamas edition here this morning. Shout out to Lloyd and Andre holding it down over in the studio, getting it rocking and rolling this morning. Lloyd, thank you for all the hard work, getting me up and going here from the Bahamas.
Oh, you know, this is I'm a technical wizard. People forget.
I know it.
Actually, I
You
didn't really do anything but send you a link. So glad we could get it rocking and rolling. Thank you for
Showing
doing
off
it. You're on vacation. I did make this. I mean,
there's
fire.
no such thing. Yeah, beautiful.
You're missing Barbie.
Yeah.
For this. This is
amazing.
amazing.
Right here on the first level of the resort we're staying at, there's a Barbie bubble maze, and it's a bunch of blue and pink and yellow right in front of me. But
Well, that's what I had to pull you away from. I had to get you ready for the show. You were busting a sweat over there.
Yeah, no, I was running through the maze, all the bubbles and such. But no, I couldn't miss it. I'm glad to be rocking and rolling. I couldn't stop thinking about like the fact that we did the watch party on Friday. Which was great, outstanding watch party, and then we weren't able to do Saturday for the Ole Miss game because I had that wedding, and then I was leaving on Monday. And so we weren't going to be able to talk on Monday. And I was like, I got so many things I want to say.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get on the microphone. But, no, I'm glad we got it rolling. But we'll get to the headlines. The headlines for, pretty obvious from last week. We weren't able to touch on yesterday or over the weekend. LSU defeated Texas A&M in the quarterfinal game, 4-3, in what was an interesting game. And if you go back and watch the watch party we did, it was an interesting watch party as well. We had a good time and enjoyed having everybody in there with us as we watched LSU beat Texas A&M when they came out hot. I mean, Ethan Fry with what was ruled a double. I would have sworn it was an error off of the glove of the center fielder for Texas A&M. They were able to score a run there, and then Fry with and then Luis Hernandez, I believe, had a sacrifice fly that scored a run before Fry's 2-run home run to put the Tigers up 4-0. A&M claws a couple runs back to cut it to 4-3, but huge stuff from Anthony Einson when he came out of the pen to be up 4-3 and gets a leadoff triple on and does not allow A&M to score a run. I mean, when you go back to that inning itself in that game where Einson, obviously there's the interference call, and Einson kind of, there was a ball put in play, a swinging bunt. The runner runs through Bear's glove. It's a blatant interference. I don't understand why there was a discussion around it. I mean, he ran through Bear's glove. How is he supposed to catch the baseball? And then that turns around into the most underrated play of the night. The one that I don't see talked about enough is on the actual bunt when Anthony Einson goes and fields it, flips his shoulders to keep the guy at third, and then throws it to first, gets the guys out. Like that's you couldn't have scripted it better if you're A&M on what they would wanted to do. They got the bunt down. They were moving. It looked like they were going to score the run, and then Einson makes a play, keeps him there, and then is able to get out of the inning with a strikeout after that, and what was just massive. And then after that, obviously, they lose in the semis to Ole Miss in what was a pretty ugly game offensively. They lose 2-0. It was the first time LSU was shut out this season. But there were some silver linings. We'll get to that in a little bit. But it was a rough offense performance. I don't think there's any way to kind of sugarcoat that. there's no way around it. It was pretty ugly offensively. They weren't able to score runs, string hits together. I mean, only 2 hits, and they were back-to-back. And what felt like a huge moment in that game was those 2 back-to-back hits. I mean, you have Aaron Beatty and Stanfield back-to-back hits. They're both on base, top of the lineup up with 1 out, and then Curiel strikes out, Bear flies out. That was the moment in the game where you really thought LSU could strike, and it just wasn't able to happen. Obviously, yesterday, news was announced on the rankings for regionals. LSU comes in as a top 8 seed. That discussion is finally dead. Like, there's all the people clapping back at us. How do you know they're a lock? How do you know? What are they? Are you sure they're a lock? LSU's a top 8 seed. They came in as number 6 national seed, ranked with they're matched up with Clemson's regional. Clemson's the number 11 seed, and LSU's grouping consists of DBU is the 2 seed, Rhode Island is the 3 seed, and Little Rock is the 4 seed. Clemson's is Clemson, West Virginia, Kentucky, USC, Upstate. The 16 regional hosts: Vandy, Texas, Arkansas, Auburn, North Carolina, LSU, Georgia, Oregon State, Florida State, Ole Miss, Clemson, Oregon, Coastal Carolina, Tennessee, UCLA, and Southern Miss. And when you look at those top 8 seeds, I'll read them off again: Vandy, Texas, Arkansas, Auburn, North Carolina, LSU, Georgia, Oregon State. Something that stands out to me is the fact that 6 of those top 8, 6 of the hosts for regionals and super regionals are SEC schools. And the last piece of news in the headlines is that the rest of the freshman football class for LSU made it on campus this week. Guys like Keelan Moses, Zach Weeks, Jacob Bradford, Phillip Wright, go down the list. They officially have their team on campus as those freshmen make it here. So that's the headlines for today. Obviously, a lot of discussion will be centered around LSU and their draw for postseason play as regionals are here, boys. We're through Hoover. We're ready for postseason baseball in the box. How are we feeling, guys?
It feels like we've played, like we were talking to, we interviewed Jay last night after on Mic'd Up, 6 to 8, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 3. And I asked him about DBU. And like, that was one of my first questions. Like, does it help at all that you've played them already? And he was like, brother, that feels like a season ago. It feels like a lifetime ago. Like, it doesn't even feel like we're in the same year. Like, baseball is,
I agree.
As fast as it went by, it feels like that was so long ago that you played DBU and you were, I think Connor Ware pitched in that game through 4 shutty.
He was the starter. Yeah, no, I mean, that was the Wednesday before the Frisco, Texas trip where they faced, Nebraska and Kansas State and Sam Houston. I mean, it feels like that's how grueling the SEC schedule is.
Yeah, Anthony Ianson wasn't a starter after that. Gives up 5 in the first. You're like, got to move him to the bullpen. And guess what? You did. He ended up coming out the pen.
Worked.
Yeah. But to see LSU be able to get that, like after all the conjecture and everything that was going on about this, what this baseball team is going to do, where's it going to end up? Do they have to beat, do they have to win a game to be able to host? And it's like you look up and they're the 6th seed, and all of that kind of goes out the window. Like, they weren't 8, they locked up a 6 seed, and they probably have the easiest draw of anybody in a regional.
Yeah, they got blessed.
Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah,
definitely. No, I mean,
like they have Dallas Baptist is a completely different team, I would say, from when they first played. But it's still like a great draw for LSU, I would say, especially with a really weak 4 and a really weak 3 seed.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was no way to sit and look at LSU's draw, both with their regional and the super they're matched up with, and not have some confidence. Me and Lloyd were chatting about it last night when we were testing the video calls and stuff out to be going this morning. And I mean, there's no way to not feel good, especially about LSU's. I mean, to have a 2 seed that you've beat already. And obviously teams grow throughout the season, but a team that you've already seen and you beat earlier this year, and then Rhode Island, Little Rock, the 2 lowest RPI 4 seed and 3 seed. Like, you got as good of a draw as you could, and you're a top 8 seed. I mean, it was a win-win for LSU yesterday when you look at the selection show and what their postseason is going to look like. So we're gonna get to the 2 claps here. We're gonna see if we can time this up.
See,
this is what I'm a little worried about. we were chatting about it.
We're gonna
before
look
the
real
show,
light.
if we're gonna be able to do it. The rhythm is not going to be good, so do not hold it against us. Okay, we've got some technical challenges here, but we'll start off with Jaden Newt, Chase Shores, Jacob Myers. What they did on Saturday against Ole Miss deserves 2 claps. I mean, you found something. I think that's the silver lining I was talking about from that loss, was those 3 guys. I mean, you have Newt go out there, only give up, what was it, a solo home run, and then was like a ground out that they scored on.
Yeah.
After he made a throwing error.
I think it came from an error, so it really wasn't a real run.
I mean, gave up 2 runs, and then Shores and Myers shut him out. I mean, those 2 specifically are like that. That's where the confidence that grew on Saturday, because for most people it probably didn't. The offense was so bad. I had confidence that I'm more confident after Saturday because of what you saw from Chase Shores and Jacob Myers, and just shoving 100 miles per hour right at your face for, shutout innings. So Jaden Newt, Chase Shores, Jacob Myers, 2 claps. Ready.
That's pretty good.
There we go.
I
think we timed it up. We timed it up.
It only goes down from here, right?
That's as good as it can. Yeah, that was as good as it was going to get.
Probably as good as it's going to get.
But when you do talk about you talk about like those, like, obviously we're going to get into it a little bit more, but I think a lot of what people are going to take away was the offense. Like, it's going to be easy to say, oh, you got 2 hit, then you start combining the previous game and what your offense did wherever it was stagnant the last 5 innings. But really, what was the complaint all year? It was been about bullpen pitching.
The bullpen.
And then you finally see it. So you get like let's try to enjoy one thing.
Yeah, not only.
Right. I mean, when
no, like my
Go
bad.
ahead, Andre.
No, like Jaden Newt, we talked about him. Not only was he, he gave you 2-run ball for probably 5 innings or 6 innings, but he was efficient, right? Like, his pitch count was not that high, and you love to see that from a pitcher.
You're trying
that
to find
doesn't
eat
up pitches, right? Like a guy like Ianson or Anderson, so that kind of brings some versatility to the starting pitchers, which was nice to see. But
you're looking for not only looking for bullpen help, you're looking for a Game 3 guy, and it feels like you got one.
Yeah, I mean, look, that we were talking about it last night. When you schedule out 3 games now, I mean, we're kind of spoiled because of the relievers that LSU has in Cowan and Evans. But I mean, you look at it, you go Anderson, Cowan, Ianson, Evans, Newt, Shores, Myers. I mean, that works for me.
Yeah. Well, what did Jay say before the year? He said, like, he was like, I feel like I have 8 guys. And we're like, well, no, nobody has 8 guys. But you're starting to kind of see that you might have 8 guys again, because at the beginning of the year, that's what it looked like. And now you're starting to see it a little bit more, where you see Shores grow into this role. You see Myers come out and throw, both throwing 102. And it's like, even the guys in the booth are like, oh, well, another one that throws 102. It's like they were surprised. We know because we've been asking for it all year, like, just to see him put it together. And then you have Newt with a nasty split that was, like, when that thing's on, he becomes a totally different pitcher. And it's been on the last 3 times he's towed the rubber. And so to kind of see those guys with, like I said, back-to-back 102 out the pen, that does not make LSU an easy task, even if they can't swing it right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, we just named 7 pitchers, and then you still have guys like Rizzi, Schmidt, Cooper Williams. I mean, go down the list. Like, they're in a good spot compared to what we were talking about a couple months ago. Probably closer to the last time LSU played Dallas Baptist. So, shout out to those 3 guys for stepping up on Saturday. Shout out to the committee or whoever the selection people are for fielding LSU and Clemson. LSU and Clemson potentially facing off in the Supers and matching the fans up against one another, getting everybody ready for August 30th. We had some Clemson people on the flight yesterday, so it was just funny because when I first saw them getting on the plane, I'm thinking football.
Yeah.
Well, then the announcements are made while we're landing. And somehow my dad had Wi-Fi on the flight, but I didn't. He didn't want to share with the rest of the family. So no 2 claps for Dad.
2 thumbs
He
down.
didn't want to share the Wi-Fi. 2 thumbs down for Dad. But we get off. He shows me the matchups, whatever. So then we get off, and then I'm thinking, well, we might face Clemson next week, and so just getting the fans ready between the 2 Tigers, between LSU and Clemson. That it couldn't have kind of matched up any better to get everybody ready to rock and roll. So 2 claps for the committee. Ready?
Oh,
that one was bad.
Yeah.
That one's on me.
Little
honestly.
off. That's okay.
J.R. Teague, though.
2 claps for Steven. Yes.
I think
yes, 2 claps for
Southeastern,
Steven
right?
Milam. 2 claps for Steven Milam and that play he made at shortstop, which was replaying in my brain over and over. But the real 2 claps for the LSU defense as a whole.
Yep.
I mean, we're talking about what's going to travel, for the postseason is this pitching and the defense and how they've consistently made big play after big play throughout the season. And that Steven Milam play on Saturday was a beauty. And so, I mean, Lloyd, I don't know if you want to touch on the defense a little bit before we clap for him, but just kind of where LSU stands in that.
I was going to get my 2 cents in because I was talking about him before the game. Whenever we were in the group chat, that was just a cesspool of nonsense that I had to leave myself. I had to excuse myself from the room because there was a lot of conjecture in there. Then you're talking to Alex Bregman was on the screen, and they were showing the LSU highlights, and I was, they said the best defensive shortstop ever at LSU. I was like, well, Milam's going to take that from him year to year, and y'all were all like, no way. Then he does that, and I was like, see, and I left again.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was beautiful. And the defense and the pitching is as good as it gets. I mean, right now, like when you look at what LSU did this past weekend, that defense plays every single time. The guys you have in the outfield, and then that middle infield, we've said it since the beginning of the season, how special they are. And then even Braswell, like they make double plays look routine regardless of if it's routine. So 2 claps for the LSU defense. Ready?
Yeah.
Off. Sorry. That's okay. That's okay.
I mean, you're in the Bahamas, brother.
Just to add on, though, like,
that's all right.
When those aces like Ianson and Anderson see that defense play behind them, you know how demeaning that is for other teams, right? Like to see like you already can't get a hit, and when you do put maybe a good bat on it or a good swing on it,
well,
you get robbed of a base hit, and then you're like,
base, it's a double play.
Exactly, and you're like, well.
It gives. I would say it inspires the pitcher to be like, I can throw strikes because I got this defense behind me. Like
not only that, but it's a momentum killer for other teams. Yeah. It's just like, wow.
And you saw one more. You saw like I don't think that people are going to all of a sudden think Stanfield can't play center field just because he kind of runs up on a ball. Like that's the catch he would make 99 out of 100 times. So even when there is a misplayed ball, it's like it's so easy. You could point to it because it happens so infrequently. Like. There's a Braswell kick ball. Right. There was Stanfield in the outfield, and that's it.
That's just what you're gonna get, though.
Just baseball.
I mean, it's that ball had some spin on it. People didn't realize that ball that was hit in the center, that Stanny kind of that had
right
so much spin on it.
And I trust him to make that play.
Yeah.
And Stanfield, I mean, the only reason that the play's not made, nobody else in the country even probably tries to make that play.
Right.
But Stanfield's made it so consistently throughout the year. He puts himself in the position to do so, and he just didn't make it this time. But more times than not, I mean, he's making that play. And, I agree with the points both of y'all made. I think the pitchers have to be so confident in what they can do to be successful because of who they have behind them and around them. I mean, they can put a ball over the plate or somewhere in a spot maybe they're not too confident in and feel good because the guys behind them can make a play. And the same thing for what it does to the opposing offense. I mean, it's got to be tough knowing that it really feels like I've got to hit a single or a home run because anything else, that they're going to make the play and not put me in a position to be successful. So the next 2 claps is for the watch party crew from Friday night. Last Friday was pretty fun. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm not going to try to downplay it. It was a good time. Me and the fellas in there for the watch party, watching LSU versus Texas A&M. We kind of figured out the balance of the wheel a little bit better. Shout out to Lloyd on mapping that out. We had the great idea by Sam to get the Fries involved when Ethan Fry went up to bat, and it just so happened to be the perfect timing as Fry goes yard while we're all shaking a Fry in the air. Here's the clip here.
Should we hold up Fries for Fry?
Hold up.
This is absolutely unhinged.
That's the most hype I've seen Ron, honestly.
That's true. I mean, and shout out to everybody that retweeted it and commented on it. I think Ethan Fry retweeted it. His mom quote tweeted it and commented on it. And like his whole family got into it, so it was awesome. But it was a fun watch party. Justin, Trevor, Sam, Ron, me, Lloyd. We had that thing rolling. I appreciated the fellas getting out there. And I appreciate everybody that tuned in. I mean, what happened was we're live doing the watch party, having a good time. Our usual suspects in there. We had about 20, 30 people watching, which is usually what it sits around. And then the YouTube stream drops of the game. You know, like how all LSU baseball fans watch games now. You know, the SEC network was like, we're not going to let you get these for tournament plays. So that gets dropped and our numbers spike. Like I look back at my laptop and I'm like, why 100 people? And it's because we lost the game on YouTube. So shout out to everybody that got in there with us. Kept everybody updated.
The best one is saying, do y'all show the game? You're all going to show the game? Can we watch the game? We're like, no, that's how the other one got
One
quit.
guy was like, are y'all going to show the game? I'm from Instagram.
Yeah. I appreciate you following us, brother, but no.
I'm from Instagram. Like it's a nation.
Yeah, that was an all-time just like to see obviously I don't care if people watch or not. I love that we have a contingency of 30 to 40 people that are going to ride with this and watch the game with us, but to be able to help, I guess, get the message across where if that's the way you're getting the game, God bless you. That's a little bit different than just watching the booth.
Sure. Yeah. So everybody involved in the watch party Friday night deserved 2 claps. So 2 claps. Ready.
That's pretty good.
That was good.
Yep, getting there. Last one. 2 claps for Lloyd and Andre in studio today. 2 claps for y'all
for Lloyd,
getting
man.
Up, getting there.
2 claps for Lloyd. He
Appreciate
picked me
you
up
guys.
today, man.
Yeah.
Had some car trouble. So shout out Lloyd.
Absolutely. The show goes on, bro.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
2 claps to the crew. Ready? There we go.
I'm like
there
lining
we go.
it
That's
up
it.
with Noah right now.
I'm trying to line up with y'all.
Yeah.
So we're balancing out a little bit. But no, good. That's the 2 claps for this morning. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm glad. Appreciate y'all for getting this thing rock and rolling. Everybody that's tuned in this morning, thank y'all for bearing with us as we're making it work here on an international edition here of Tingle & Co.
The second time.
The timing of my vacation. Yes.
I was in London, you go the other way to the Bahamas.
It's unbelievable how we timed up our vacations with us starting our own show and company. And it was like, well, right before we make the announcement, Lloyd's going to go out of town. And then before we are officially, moving over in our own entity, I'm going to be gone for the week. So I had made my mind that I was going to find a way to do this and be live with y'all every morning this week. So we should have Mikey Matuk at 8 a.m., I believe.
I'm going to see if
9 a.m. my time.
Yeah, I'm going to see if he'll hop on. He is. I talked to him about it last night. He has it's easier on Monday than it is for Tuesday. He's got some stuff he's got to do, so I'll check with him. If he doesn't come on, he won't. But if he does, I will let you know. But I think we're going to operate as if he won't be here this morning.
No worries. No worries at all. We're going to line it up. We're going to pack it out with baseball this week, with guys like Mikey, Bryce Kuhn, John Eads, get as much of the baseball content out as we can. Getting ready for regional weekend officially here. LSU has postseason baseball in Alec Bach Stadium as they get rocking and rolling. Andre, 2 claps for you, my friend, for getting this document done. Great work. We gave you some shout outs last week, but once again, you are crushing the document. And LSU's regional. I'll get y'all's opinion. How are y'all feeling about the draw for LSU this weekend?
I feel really confident in what LSU got, especially when you look at some of the other national seeds that didn't get it so great. Kind of like how UNC got a pretty tough regional. I think Ole Miss got a really tough regional. But I think LSU, like we said, you get 2 of the worst RPI, teams in their respective seed, which helps. And then a Dallas Baptist team that can really hit. But Lloyd and I kind of talked about this before the show. You'd rather face a really good hitting team because good pitching beats good hitting any day of the week. And so that's what I kind of think. And it's better to face good hitting than really elite pitching. And I don't really think Dallas Baptist has elite pitching. They have decent pitching, but what LSU sees in the SEC is I wouldn't compare it to what Dallas Baptist kind of shows.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's hard to not feel confident, especially with the arms that LSU has. I mean, like we just discussed, when you have Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, who can both be in discussion for the best pitcher in the country. I mean, what you saw from both of them in that win versus Texas A&M is as good as it gets. I mean, we were constantly cutting eyes and looking at each other in that start of the game by Cade, where it was like, I think I had assumed, I thought he was going to go 4 innings, 7 Ks, and he had 7 strikeouts through 4 innings, but he had only thrown 30 pitches. And I was like, what is happening? And Cade was just absolutely dialed and locked in. And if you saw some of the hot mic moments from this past weekend, Cade was not just locked in, bitching, he was letting him hear it too.
See ya.
And a little see ya.
Call.
After he strikes him out. So, I mean, that's as good as it gets. And then Ianson out of the bullpen. Obviously, a questionable decision to most at the time, but I think almost everybody it kind of grew on. Like, they kind of figured it out of why you did it, especially with what's happened now as regionals have been announced. You're feeling good with why you threw those 2 guys. They both got their work in, and you won your game. You locked up a top 8 seed. You're the 6th seed. And it looked awesome. I mean, you also saw something in Ianson, which was just Jay talked about it in the past, where he said there's not a pitcher that he's had that he's more comfortable with getting out of a jam. I mean, no outs, runner on third. They don't score a run. Yeah. I mean, the interference call, that plays a factor. But, I mean, you get a runner on third with no outs, any ball in play scores him. And that play he made with 1 out, where he fields the bunt, keeps the guy at third, and gets the out at first, and then a huge strikeout to end the inning. I mean, that's as good as it gets.
Oh, I mean, and you saw somebody that comes into a situation which they've never been in before. Ianson hasn't come out of the pen for LSU. Obviously, everybody's looking around at the decision. We were, during the watch party, we saw Ianson kind of throwing in the pin. We're like, oh, that's interesting. Like, is he just getting some work in, or is he actually going to bring him in this game? And then the theories started to kind of come to fruition as to why. And we had Eads on, who had talked to Will Helmers, who had said, hey, this is a real possibility that you want to be able to get them both work. Regardless of the situation, you want to get both of your starters the ability to have pitched and not have them go 2 weeks without throwing a baseball in a competitive setting. Ianson comes in out the pen and gets dealt probably the worst hand you can get as being a relief pitcher, where it's immediately, all right, you're in the shit. Runner on third, nobody out, and you do still want to win a baseball game. It's not like, I know LSU felt comfortable about where they sat nationally and what their seed was going to be, or else you wouldn't have put Ianson in. And so, even with that said, you get a guy on third, and then you immediately, it starts with a dribbler that turns into should have scored a run, but then you have interference, and this is more stuff that's just adding up to a guy that's coming into relief where he's looking around going, this is a little bit different than any other situation I've been in. Now I'm waiting on the mound, trying to figure out what the call is going to be. Like, none of that was natural. And he's able to have a guy on third, get 2 outs, and then is able to get the third out finally, where you're like, dude, they didn't score a run. Because we were looking at each other like, one came across, right? Like, no. Like, absolutely could not have been dealt the shittier hand and gets out of a jam. And now you can kind of look around and go, if you need to, you could put Ianson in that situation again, and it sets you up to see when you go against an Arkansas Little Rock team of, I don't know who they're going to throw. You would think that they would stay on schedule with Cade, but it also gives you the ability to pitch Anthony Ianson and then save Cade Anderson for DBU. It depends on how you want to look at it, but because of that decision, you are now set up to be able to be a little bit more versatile, where DBU can't really just plan on playing against one pitcher.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're sitting in a comfortable spot of you can throw either guy, and the crazy thing is you feel confident with either one of them pitching game 1 and game 2. Like, regardless of the order you go in, they're both, like I said, can be named the best pitcher in the country. And so Jay played his hand right and put himself in a position where DBU can't be like, okay, it's Cade because he threw against Texas A&M, and Ianson threw Saturday against Ole Miss. They can't go Saturday, Friday. Now they don't know really who to expect. They'll probably find out right before game time when the lineups are announced. And I see an interesting comment from Jared Roach in the chat, and it's a lot of the discourse that was around that Friday night game, especially after it and then rolling into Saturday, is this mindset that people thought that LSU was quitting, like that they just threw in the towel. They're just going to win on Friday. They don't care about what happened on Saturday. And look, is there some weight to that? Yeah, they wanted to win on Friday, get the win, throw both of your guys. Whatever happens after that is lanyard. It's whatever. It's gravy. Like you didn't need a win against Ole Miss. You really didn't even need a win against Texas A&M. What you needed was for both of your guys on Friday to get work in both Anderson and Einson. You made that happen, and that turned into a win because those two guys are the best in the country. And then on top of that, it was another win on Saturday because you can't tell me that you just rolled over and let that game, you just rolled over and lost that game because you put out 3 pitchers out there that gave up 2 runs. Like if you'd have told me that you would have thrown Newt, Shores, and Myers and they only give up 2 runs, I'd have been like LSU won.
Yeah.
Now the bats didn't show up. Like that's the discussion. I don't understand this idea that LSU just quit or they threw in the towel or it's this mindset by Coach Johnson that he was overanalyzing and doing this and that and whatever when you don't need to win in the SEC tournament. There's nothing wrong with that. And he got what he needed to do. He checked boxes. Like to me, he checked the boxes. You beat Texas A&M, which would have been an RPI killer. Now, regardless of if that would have held any weight to them dropping out of the top 8, it would have crushed your RPI if you lose to A&M because they are a bad baseball team with good players, but they have a bad record. So you win that, you beat A&M, you save that RPI drop, you pitch Anderson, you pitch Einson. Both of your guys are squared away, good to go with however you want to use them this weekend. And then on Saturday, even though you lost the game, you cannot understate what Newt, Shores, and Myers did and what that means for this team going forward. Like your confidence should be in a completely different spot, moving in the right direction because of what those 3 guys did against Ole Miss.
And if you want to be negative about the offense, like there's a real world in which we live in where because of the situation in which you saw it be you see what Cade Anderson to Einson in the game before that. If you're a team that is LSU where you just saw them throw both your guys, then you wake up the next day, you're like, do you think are we all in on trying to win this tournament? Because I don't think so. I think there was a real reason that they did that. We accomplished our mission when we got here, and that can have I think it had an effect on the offense in terms of how much they were trying to do to output it. Like, I think they were good. Like, if you hit, great. I don't think they're worried about it because I don't think the mindset was there, really, to, like, we have to go win this baseball game. Like, if we had to win this game, like, you're lying to me saying that this is what we wanted to roll out if this is our plan to win the SEC tournament. Our plan was to be able to pitch both guys yesterday, win a baseball game, and then if we want to go home, we can go home. Because this doesn't really mean anything to anybody. Doesn't accomplish anything except for you could say you won the SEC tournament.
And on the other side, like Ole Miss, like you have to tip your cap to them. They pitched phenomenal all weekend. Like this wasn't just a one-game thing. Ole Miss pitched really well against Vanderbilt, even in the championship game.
Yeah.
They pitched really well against Florida. They did it, against even a really hot Arkansas offense. I mean, you have to kind of realize every team in the SEC is stacked when it comes to the pitching staffs. And, I mean, a lot of the guys kind of said yesterday at the pressers, like, baseball is a very long season. Like, I think there comes a point where, like, you cannot hit the ball every single game. Like, it's just baseball. That's how hard it is. It's going to happen. You'd rather it certainly happen in the SEC tournament than in the regionals this weekend. But, now that they, kind of got it out of their system, it feels like it's a fresh start. You're playing back at home. You know what the ball looks like. It's
comfortable.
It's a very big advantage for this team.
Yeah, I think that was their biggest goal, right? Like going through the entire year is like you want to be able to host a regional and super regional at the end of the year. When LSU is able to do that, more times than not, they're kind of where they want to be when it comes to postseason baseball. And if you want to say, certainly after the A&M win, I think before that they were good. Certainly after that win, it was like this thing's going through the box. And LSU's offense, whether you like it or not, if you want to still complain about the offense, And you're like, well, you can't say that they can only hit at home. How many games do they have at home? Every game until you get to Omaha,
which is
where
they're familiar with.
Yeah,
so it's
also
like,
a place that kind
Right.
of resembles Alec Box, and that's not by mistake.
Home away from home.
Yes, Alec Box North, Baton Rouge North.
No. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't, like, that's the thing. There's, like, definitive numbers that back up the argument that LSU is better at home offensively than they are away. And, like, when you really break it down just from a statistical standpoint, like, not even just the eye test. Because, I mean, the eye test, they look better at home than they do just from a confidence standpoint and comfortability. So, but even in that Ole Miss game, they hit the ball hard just to the wrong spots. Like, they just hit it right at people.
Exactly.
And they weren't able to catch some of those breaks. And those are breaks that they've caught before. And if they would have caught them, it would have been a different looking baseball game. And so I'm confident in the way LSU has set up for this weekend. And the way they performed this past weekend in the SEC tournament brings confidence as well. Like, I'm really not too worried about the offense, because my biggest question going into that game was, okay, after Anderson and Ianson, what do you have? Mm-hmm. You know you have Cowan and Evans. You think you have Newton Shores, but do you know that yet? And you were able to accomplish on Saturday something huge for LSU moving forward, and the fact that you know you can have Newton Shores go in a game and give you extended innings, get you into the 7th or the 8th. And then you have a guys like Myers, who was just absolute electricity when he came into that baseball game late against Ole Miss. I mean, shoving 100, 101, 102, across the plate, and getting swing and miss, getting people out, and showing the emotion, which had me fired up watching him play.
And that's another facet. Like, you talk about, we're getting to the point of the season where guys are hitting the tops of their velocity, right? Like, Shores hit 102, Myers hit 101. I think Ianson was sitting 96, 95, which is, I want to say it's a little more where he sat, in the A&M game. I think Anderson hit 95, 96 a few times. So, I mean, like, it's a good point you make, because once you're at the end of the season, you want to be playing your best baseball. And I think LSU is certainly trending towards that and in the right direction as far as pitching goes, for sure. I think hitting's going to find it out. It's just you have to get hot at the right moment, and what better time to do it than at home, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, and there's a couple of key guys that really need to get it going for LSU. I mean, obviously Fry had a good weekend. I mean, he was your lone kind of wolf against A&M, where he was the one that was putting the bat on the ball and making things happen. I mean, that 2-run home run. But people like Daniel Dickinson was on base, got hit by a pitch, I believe, before Fry hits that home run. Like, that's something that works in your favor. That's what they weren't able to do against Ole Miss. They weren't getting on base. They were hitting balls hard right at people. But if Bear Jones gets in a rhythm, which we kind of saw, I forget what was it, the South Carolina, the last weekend of the season, we saw him start to hit balls out, kind of get warm. He didn't really have that same effectiveness last weekend. If when he gets back home, he can hit that stride. Stephen Milam, to me,
still waiting.
He got pinch hit for at the end of that game. When you think about the Ole Miss game, you get Fry on base, which Fry put together an outstanding at bat in the bottom of the 9th of that baseball game. Gets on base with 2 outs, and then they pinch hit Pearson for Milam. And that's my question to pose to you guys: how much weight does that hold? The fact that Milam, who's a switch hitter, so it's not like it was really a matchup thing because he hits from both sides of the plate. That Jay pinch hit for your everyday shortstop, does that bring any sort of pause to you guys?
I think you have to look at who pinch hit for whom, right? Like, Pearson comes in, it's his final SEC tournament. You have an opportunity to go out there and tie a baseball game up. And Jay said he told him this before while he was pinch hitting for me. He's like, I told him to go in and hit a homer. Like, I don't think it was so much that you're not. I don't think it's I mean, certainly if Milam was hot, or if Milam has been playing the offense potential that you saw last year, that's not the moment you take him out. He was the one that won you games last year in the bottom of the 9th. He did it twice. And so I think it was more of, like, it is something. Like, there's not a no real positive way to look at it when it looks like if you're pinch hitting for Stephen Milam. Like, that's not a world you want to live in, but I also do think it was a great opportunity to be able to get Pearson in at bat. It's a lefty bat to go in. See if you can put a charge into one and see if you can tie the baseball game up. But no, I mean Pearson's offense has been Milam's offense has been a question mark this year. It just has. You keep saying, wait for him to get hot, wait for him to get hot. You make the excuse like, oh, wait till it's a clutch moment, wait for it to be in a big game. Those have happened. Still hasn't gotten hot yet.
And you know what it kind of feels like? It feels like 2023 Josh Pearson, if we're going to talk about streaky hitting. Milam, we know he has the tools. We know he has the tools to be a good hitter. We saw it all last postseason. He was the hottest hitter. He probably carried you that most of the SEC tournament and that game against Wofford. But I mean, it feels like the Josh Pearson stuff really spotty. If he can get it going during the postseason, or even if you make it to Omaha, or super regionals, that's where you really need him most, because top down, that's when teams are going to be at their best. They're going to be 1 through 9. They're going to be most dangerous. Anyone can kind of help within the lineup, and that's what you need Milam to do. Now, he doesn't have to go and hit homers, but he has to put the bat on the ball, and he's striking out a lot right now, which is
swing and miss.
A little more concerning. So you just really want to see more quality at bats from him, and if you do, that's a start. Like, you don't want him to just go and say, hey, please go be the guy, hit these doubles, homers for us. Just we need hits.
You don't need to try to do too much.
Exactly, and I think that's what he's doing.
And where he's at in the lineup, to me, I mean, when you look at the lineup they put out against Ole Miss, it's Curiel, Jones, Dickinson, Brown, Fry as your first five, and I think that's been pretty consistent throughout the year. Milam's right there in that 6 hole where it's like, if you can get something there, so then when Stanfield goes up, there's a runner on, and he can rip one of those down the third baseline and get Milam home from second. Like if you're able to get some play from the 6 hole, it would be huge for this baseball team, because you feel really good about your first 4. And then with Brown and Pearson and that 5 hole or 4 hole roundabout, but I mean, you obviously feel good about Curiel, Dickinson, and Fry. Like, those 4 have been consistent throughout the year. You feel confident in them. Now, would you like to see Curiel get back hot where he's getting on base, he's not striking out as much? Jared Jones putting together the at-bats he did earlier in the year where you were like, okay, complete hitter. Yes, you would love to see that. Dickinson, to me, has been steady all year, just good. Like, he's getting on base, putting together good at-bats. And then Fry right now is hot. Like, right now, Fry's your best hitter on this team. And then if Jake Brown, Josh Pearson can keep rolling and you can get Milam to pick it up, I really think you're getting as much as you can want out of the bottom half of the lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking at least from 7, 8, and 9 with Braswell, your catcher, and Stanfield, I mean, you're getting really good stuff out of those 3 guys. If you could just kind of have the timing better, like where you're able to string at-bats together, but then on top of that, have the middle part of that lineup really start to perform, it puts you in such a good position if you're LSU.
I mean, you're looking at Milam, like the way that we're talking about, it's like he's hitting below the Mendoza line. He's over here batting 280 and 277.
Yeah,
and he's
SEC play was what, 260?
263. But he also he's got the 10 pumps. He's got 10 home runs this year.
Yes.
And so you're seeing it happen.
Right.
You're seeing it happen in spots. But it is something, and I think that the biggest reason for this is probably because of the position he's playing. Like, that change from second to short is massive, where you have to have such an undertaking as to what you're doing defensively, and the amount of movement that you're doing and the mental toll of it all is like that'll affect your offense at some point. So it's not like, Steve, what are you going to do? Stephen Milam can't play. It's just you expected more from him, but when you put it all in like perspective of new position, the amount of like minutes he's logging as a shortstop when it's a totally different position. Like, you saw the same thing with Luis Hernandez, who's now catching every day. He's hitting 248. Like, he hit 20 home runs last year. He's not sniffing that. But what you're getting defensively more than makes up for what they're lacking on the offensive end.
I think when it comes down like to next week, right? I think the unsung hero are people that, like, I don't know, people are gonna look ahead of this Hoover, series or whatever week, and they're not gonna see how good the bottom of the lineup truly was. I think Braswell was seeing the ball really well.
Yeah.
And he had a few hits that were, stolen base hits. If you can get Braswell to see the ball, if you can get Luis to start seeing the ball, to where he was towards the middle of the season, that's really all you need. Like you just need some sort of
you don't want it to be what it was last year.
Constant pressure, right? Like you need some sort of constant pressure from the middle, you need from the bottom, and from the top. And obviously the top is going to be fine. The bottom of the lineup is what will make or break, I will say, this LSU season when it comes down to it all, because you have to be – the thing about the LSU 2023 team, they were dangerous 1 to 9.
Yeah.
You had – who was hitting like 9-hole? Jordan Thompson was hitting 8-hole. And he had how many home runs? 13 or 14?
Right, and he was winning you baseball games.
Exactly.
And then he goes absolutely blistering cold.
Yeah.
During Omaha. And
that's just a game of baseball. Right?
Yeah, and he still is the guy that ends up winning you baseball games. But yeah, I mean, I think the offense is you've seen them be able to turn it over throughout the year, and so I don't think that this is a like, oh, now I'm concerned about the bottom of the lineup. Like I do think that they have enough guys.
Oh yeah, they're fine.
Like whether it be. If you want to insert Pearson, you have 12, 13 guys that you can use in this lineup to be able to find offense. And the way that Stanford's playing at 9, like you really are just trying to, if they all are performing, you see an LSU offense that puts up 10 runs a game.
Yeah, I think one thing to take away too is the Luis Hernandez. I think Jay's going to have to make a decision sooner or later. I think you have to just start playing one catcher. I think that could be a little harsh for both of those guys because they need to see more at bats. I think taking them out, every game or so, and it's different for the pinch hitters. I would say more so because they get to they're more spread out. Like they're always hitting. It feels like, but for the catchers, those two have struggled in.
Yeah, I mean, you rarely get production from your catcher. Like, that's sure. You just want it to be defensively. And Jay is on record saying, like, if there's people I'm not taking out the game, and this is like with the chips are down, it's like, I want my shortstop, my center fielder, and my catcher. Like, I trust them defensively more than anybody. And he's like, surprised that you didn't see a Luis Hernandez on an all-SEC defensive team, or Stephen Milam on an all-SEC defensive team, or Daniel Dickinson, or Chris Stanton. Nobody made it. Kate Anderson was the only player that was – I don't know. Texas had 5 guys on there. Yeah. And Jay was like, you had a guy that DH for a month and a half that's only all defensive team. He goes, tell me how that works. Like, LSU got the shaft because when push comes to shove, they're one of the best defensive teams in the country, and nobody made the all defensive team. Like, that's oversight by.
I mean, those two middle infielders just.
It's the best in the country. It's the best in the country.
Those to me, it doesn't get any better than that, and they just wanted to kowtow and show off the new Longhorn toy that they have, and make sure Texas is happy. So whatever.
And then they don't even get the 1 seed. Vanderbilt snuck up and bit him in the ass.
Hey, Vandy. Hey, that was our
Vandy
pick.
boys.
Both of us picked Vandy to win the whole shebang in the SC tournament. And they did. I mean, they looked good. But I mean, look at that championship game. They scored 2 runs in the first inning,
and what
was the final score? 3-2.
3-2.
The Ole Miss gave up 1 run after that. And Ole Miss pitched really good out of the ball this weekend. Like they pitched well.
They played like that's as good of a run as you can make in an SEC tournament and not win it.
Yeah.
You could see that they were trying to put it in, but they also. They put themselves in a hell of a spot after that SEC tournament run to where they moved their seeding also. But Vandy, this is like an old school Vandy team where they used to have like David Price, and it felt like they had arm after arm after arm, and that's what they have again. Like the offense isn't like when they all put it together, it was like I don't know if anybody's going to take this thing from Vandy for the next 5-6 years. And then
did you see the Vanderbilt pitcher that stayed locked in on the bump while the batter took time? The batter calls time, steps out of the box, is standing there, and the pitcher's just on the mound. Just
come get some.
Just it was dude. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I don't even know how else to say it. It was pretty awesome.
I don't know. Like your timeout's not going to help you. Like that made it worse.
Buddy, you're gonna die.
This pitch clock is as soon as it starts, I'm throwing. Yeah, but that's the confidence that Vanderbilt has right now, and you won't have to see them until later, which is why I think LSU, like as much as you would say. The seeding of the whole thing, like before it happened, LSU might be an 8 seed. I think you saw what the respect they got was as the number 1 team in the country. Like they were perennially number 1 across every poll, and they're seeded as such.
Yeah, no, I mean they got the treatment of the number 1 team in the country, the standard of college baseball. Like that when you look at the draw they got, their 3 seed and their 4 seed are both the lowest RPI team in each of those spots in the whole field. Mm-hmm. Like Rhode Island is the lowest RPI 3 seed, and Little Rock is the lowest RPI 4 seed. Like Little Rock went on like this crazy run to even make.
They're not in the tournament if they don't win. If they don't win their conference,
no.
they won their conference tournament.
Like 8 conference wins, guys.
Yeah, they stole a bid.
These guys lost to ULM. I think they lost the series to Nichols. I think they got swept by Nichols. Actually, it was bad. I mean, I will say though, Little Rock gave Arkansas a run for their money, and they beat Ole Miss earlier this season.
Yeah,
so like you still have to play these guys as such,
baseball.
right?
Yeah,
like it's still baseball. At the end of the day, anybody can win. But you feel really good about your draw. Like this Friday game is going to mean everything as far as what arms can you save, like how early can you get ahead in this game.
Right.
That is going to be the biggest factor coming into it, because you could save Cade really fresh if he only pitches about 3 or 4, and you have a big lead. Then you really can throw whoever after that.
Right.
Yep. Because I do think that.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't care if you're playing like a JV team. I don't care who it is. You could play a Little Rock team that's 24-32. Mm-hmm. You know what Jay's going to do. He threw Paul Steens against a Tulane team that had 17 wins. Like, you're still going to throw Cade Anderson or Anthony Einson, whichever one he deems that he wants to throw. I would be surprised if it's not Cade Anderson, just to keep everybody on schedule the way that it's been all year. But yeah, if you go in and you get Little Rock and you score 8, and then you kind of feel a little bit better, you're still going to burn Cade Anderson regardless. But it would be nice just to be able to start kind of being able to pull him and get him ready for a super regional run, because that's why you pitch Cade Anderson in the first place.
Right.
You have to throw him against Little Rock to keep him on schedule for a super regional. Mm-hmm. And I don't like to look ahead like that, but when you look at, you want to win the first one, don't play with your food.
Yep.
Don't go into a tournament where you're hosting a regional and you find yourself 2-1 ball game against Little Rock. Like, go take care of business, and then you can start looking through the bracket and making your decisions from there. But that's why I think LSU goes. You keep it chalk. Cade Anderson, and then Anthony Einson the next game, and then you go what you saw from Jay Shores, Myers, Newt. You feel really good about when you say Johnny Holstaff. Like, at least you know who Johnny Holstaff is. It's not what it was in the middle of the year where you see 8 pitchers because nobody's throwing strikes.
Yeah, Noah, what would you do?
Look, if it was a perfect world, I would say you pitch off and then you go whatever, but you don't want to play with your food. And what I think Jay's going to do is he's going to throw Cade Anderson, and I fully trust Jay, and I think that's the right choice. Like, keep your guys on their regularly scheduled programming. Throw Cade on Friday, throw Anthony on Saturday. Yep. You're confident, because you just need 3 wins. Like, you just need to win your first 2 games, put yourself in a position that you need to win a 3rd game, and you're good to go. And I think if you are just regularly scheduled programming and you pitch the way you've pitched all year, where you have Cade and Anthony go game 1 and game 2, and what you found last weekend put you in a really good spot for game 3. If everything goes according to plan, you can't not feel confident with Anderson and Einson taking the mound. They're going to, you can't expect them to not do what they've done all year.
Right.
Like, what they've done all year is go out there and shove and win baseball games.
And
so you expect them to go out there against Little Rock or DBU, Rhode Island, whoever it is, to go out there and shove. And if they do that, then you're set up against whoever it is on Sunday with your other 3 guys, the 3 guys you saw against Ole Miss, potentially ready to go in Newt, Shores, and Myers. I just don't see how, regardless of the draw, it didn't matter what team LSU was facing, whoever they got in their regional. What I saw on Saturday, and I'm going to keep alluding back to it, brings me all the confidence in the world that now you have 3 scheduled days, essentially.
Yeah.
Like 3 days that are scheduled that you feel confident, where you can go Anderson to Cowan. You've seen that win you baseball games countless times this season. Einson to Evans. You feel good about that.
Yeah.
And then you have Newt, Shores, Myers, what you saw against Ole Miss, where it's like that was as good as it gets. Like you can't get better than that.
No,
and so like,
no,
like you couldn't even be that mad.
Scheduled out days.
No, that's I agree. Like you really couldn't be that upset that they lost because like I know people are going to point to the offense. Like I know that, but
and that's just
ultimate
LSU fans
silver lining.
Like
yeah,
nature,
exactly.
Right?
Like I would take that loss with the way that it happened for like instead of LSU going out there winning a 10-8 ball game and you threw 8 pitchers and nobody looks good and you still you leave that series with question marks. You leave that SEC tournament with still a question mark. All that said, as much as I'm kowtowing and preparing and thinking that Kate Anderson's going to go, if he does it in reverse, I don't care what decision he makes. Whatever Jay does, in my mind, is going to be the right one.
Yep.
Like I think he's earned that, and if we just need to let that be. Like everybody here is all of a sudden a coach. Every LSU fan has coached at some point, I guess, or played baseball, played high-level baseball. Like I think we're at the point now that whatever Jay does, that's probably the right decision. Or if it's not, if it doesn't work out, he made it with the most intent to be able to win you a baseball game.
Yeah, I mean, like
like to me, the discussion around Jay Johnson and the decisions he makes, like the people that consistently, almost bash any decision he makes, try to find the negative in whatever decision he makes, won't acknowledge the positive that comes out of the decisions he makes. And then, to me, the one thing I won't ever understand is the like there was the Coach O comparison earlier, and there was a Les Miles comparison thrown out. Like, what are we talking about, man? I mean, Les Miles was digging in his ear and losing and forgetting what time was on the clock. Jay Johnson
is the opposite
is
of that.
meticulous in every single thing he does.
He's like almost
every
too
decision
analytical.
he makes is thought out.
Yeah,
right. And that's the other thing is people are saying that he overmanages. Like, look, if you think that throwing Anthony Ianson on Friday against A&M was overmanaging, then you just don't have a real grasp on what was happening. Like what's in front of you.
You don't know ball,
like,
buddy.
You are holding the SEC tournament to too high of a standard.
Yeah.
Like you didn't need to win that. Like you didn't need an SEC tournament trophy to make this season feel like a success. Nobody looks back and says, "Man, LSU won the SEC tournament. They were successful." That's not the sport you're playing, buddy. Like you're trying to win national championships. And the way you do that is you get both of your guys work on Friday against Texas A&M, and now you turn around and you see the draw you've got, and you see the fact that now they don't know who you're going to throw on Friday. Like it doesn't get any better than that. Like, and that's the chess game that Jay played. And if you want to get upset because he said he really wants to win an SEC tournament, and you don't think his decision to throw Anthony on Friday reflects that, get upset about it. I don't care, and neither does Jay. Like, do you think Jay wants to win an SEC tournament? Yes, I promise you he does. Like, he would love to win an SEC tournament. Did he need to? No. Did he know that? Yes. So did he make the right decision to play better for what's moving forward? Yeah. The SEC tournament for LSU doesn't do anything. Like, you're not going to look back at the SEC tournament and be like, well, if they would have won that, maybe in game 2 in Omaha, they would have played better. No, you're going to think about what they did in regionals and super. Like, the SEC tournament is not a stepping stone. It's not a lily pad. It's nothing. Like, LSU could have not even played in the SEC tournament and probably still would have been a top 8 seed. Like,
yeah. No, but
so this discussion that Jay, like that people are upset with Jay for saying, I want to win an SEC tournament. Of course he wants. You're going to win. Like, you're going to Hoover to win. You're not going there just so you can get a T-shirt or hang out in Hoover, Alabama. Like, you're going to win a baseball game or win the tournament. Like, he wanted to win the tournament. It's just he had bigger priorities than that. And if you're upset because he didn't just outright say that, then I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, like, no, it's a great point you make. Like, people will get mad. And it is because people expect so much at LSU, which it's going to be like that forever, right? Like, it's going to be the unfair comparisons of the other teams that have won, right? But you have to trust in your guy. Like, Jay knows what he's doing, right? Like, let's take, for example, that Friday game against A&M, like you had said, pitching Ianson to close that game out. And the way that LSU did that felt like an Omaha caliber game. And that is going to help LSU not only offensively but defensively closeout games in the postseason when they're getting closer.
Right.
So a game like that A&M game where you really didn't think much impact came from it as far as, seeding in terms of, right, like winning anything, right, RPI, stuff like that, it really did probably wonders for this team if we're going to go and look back,
Right.
say 2 weeks ahead. And right, we're not going to get too ahead of ourselves, but just think if we have a close game with Clemson down the line or somebody in Omaha, it's games like those that will help you win in the future. So
Yeah, I mean, think about if Ianson doesn't pitch against Texas A&M and somebody else gets put in that spot where there's a leadoff triple with no outs and you lose that baseball game and Ianson doesn't throw.
right.
Now he's not going to throw again until regional play off of 2 weeks of rest.
Yeah.
Like, you can only simulate a bullpen so much.
Exactly, and especially for starters. It's different with starters, especially.
Right, of course, than a bullpen arm. Yeah, right. I mean, he's not just a starter; he's your second ace. I mean, you have two aces on this team,
Yep.
and in my opinion, I put out a tweet after the A&M game because I was just baffled, like where LSU goes out and wins an SEC tournament game,
And people are like,
and
mad.
the amount of negativity is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I not even just from fans, but just people that cover the whole deal. Like, the amount of negativity, if I can find my tweet, is just unbelievable.
I think I know
said,
exactly.
So much negativity around this LSU team that just continues to, in all caps, win games, over 40 of them. The unanimous #1 team locked up a top 8 national seed, and they were 2 wins away from an SEC tournament title.
Right.
They aren't perfect. They aren't 2023. They have flaws. I know that, but come on, because it's unbelievable, guys. Like,
And I mean, dude, we're looking
this
at
team continues to win baseball games.
Yeah.
Like, they've won more than they've lost. They're a top 8 seed.
Yeah.
They are in a comfortable. They had got a comfortable draw in their regional and super regional, and we can't just be happy ever.
Yeah. And
Like,
it's
why
one thing
can't
if
we
you're
just
getting
have-
blown out, right? Like, it's one thing if you're getting blown out. You
Right.
have been in every single game I can think of
Yes.
for the entire season. Like, you have been in every game.
Like,
You might have got blown out maybe
it's
once or twice,
unbelievable.
right? But you have been in every single game, and you talked about how you don't want your starting pitchers to go 2 weeks without throwing a baseball. I think the opposite can be said about your relievers, right? Like, your relievers have been used so much over the season. That
Yes.
break for guys like Cowan and Kaysen Evans, right? Like,
and to go with that point,
is,
Andre,
that
really
is gonna
good point.
Be huge.
Because Cowan, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because Cowan had kind of been,
Yeah.
kind of fluttering a little bit the last couple of weekends
Yeah.
to close out the season. You look back to A&M, he pitched good against Arkansas. He didn't pitch well against South Carolina in that game 1.
Yeah.
He's got some rest because he's been throwing every single weekend.
Both of those guys,
you
right?
pitched Cowan.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you pitched Cowan, but Cowan specifically because his play kind of
Yeah, I mean, he's the inning
fluttered
eater.
a little more
Yeah,
than Evans did.
Exactly.
Right.
He's the
And
inning
so
eater for you.
Cowan now, after been pitching in high leverage situations every single weekend, got 2 weeks off to kind of reset, look at the tape, see what can be figured out, and how he can kind of counter back to how teams started to counter him, because that's what happened. Teams started to counter to what he was doing.
Yeah, and
they were sitting on the change and
up.
making him throw that fastball and swinging away on it,
which
And
allows
now
him to
he
go
can
and
kind
fix.
of sit back, look at it, and
Yeah.
adjust.
Exactly.
Right.
It allows him
So
not only to go fix control, right, with bullpens and stuff, but it allows you to fix the mechanics, right, for if you were tipping pitches, right? Like, how did they know the changeup was coming? Well, maybe we changed, just some slight things, right? It's really some small stuff that might be happening. Same thing with Kaysen, right?
Right.
Like, the last few outings, he wasn't himself, but it's a lot of it goes to he was used. This is a freshman we're talking about. This guy was used throughout the
Right.
entirety of the season. He had probably 60 pitches an outing, or 50 around that range. That's unfair to judge a freshman after one being that good for you, but two after going on
Right.
short rest for a lot of those games. So
yeah, no, I'm
I
with
mean,
you.
I think
I'm with
LSU.
you. I agree.
Like, for this regional, I mean, if I know you said you would start Cade. I would say the same thing, man. The great thing about playing Little Rock in game one is that your offense really should give you that early start if you execute to the game plan, right? And you got to see more pitchers. Pitches. Be aggressive in hitters counts, right? If they can do that, Anderson, honestly, I think he gets out pitching 4 innings. I think they're going to try and keep him fresh for supers or even
That's fine with me.
as an option to be in the pen if you need him, in a game 4, game 3, right? But not only does that, if Anderson I don't have him going too long in this one, but I think they're going to rely on other bullpen arms outside of those big 3 that we mentioned, Cowan, Evans, and Shores, to finish this one, which allows them to go on a, Saturday night game if Ianson need be wasn't himself, right?
Yeah, no, and I mean, me and Lloyd have talked about it all year. How what could make this whole thing perfect is one guy. If we lived in a perfect world, it would be William Schmidt pitching Friday night.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoving
dude.
against Little Rock, and he'd be rocking and rolling.
And in Omaha, it might be right.
So,
like in Omaha, you might see Schmidt pitch game 3 just to eat innings up, right?
It's guys like him that could really are kind of the X factor right now for LSU, where you feel really confident in those 7 guys that I've named. And you got to see who steps up around them. So we're rolling on through here to hour number 2. Appreciate everybody that's sticking with us as we are international this week. I'm here in the Atlantis in the Bahamas as it's starting to get a little busier in the lobby, if you can't tell from the people walking behind me. But good thing it's still staying pretty quiet. It was pretty loud last night when me and Lloyd were testing this out. It was much more energetic last night. I was sitting a little closer to the casino, so I backed away from the casino this morning because I did. Some people are still rocking and rolling there bright and early. So we're going to take a quick break here now that we've rolled into. No, probably not. Now that we've rolled into hour number 2, we'll take a quick break. We'll reset and we'll roll on here on this Tuesday morning, getting the week started here from the Bahamas.
You want to give 2 claps to the veterans? Noah, we're still on. If you want to fix that.
Oh yeah, it is Memorial Day. That was Memorial Day weekend. 2 claps. It was Memorial Day weekend. 2 claps to people that laid their lives down to bring the freedom that we have to even be able to do this show and everything we do. So 2 claps here on Memorial Day weekend. Ready? There we go. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back after this. Thanks, Lloyd.
Yep.
The game of baseball doesn't change. People that play it change sometimes. When I mention consistency, it may not feel like it when you lose a game that, maybe you shouldn't lose or people think that you shouldn't lose, but their ability to respond to that, not be complacent when they've been successful. Like, I have confidence in the mindset of the team. I think pitching, we have obviously those 2 guys have gotten talked about, and as they should, rightfully so. But if you look at the emergence of a number of other pitchers on the staff, our pitching staff gives us tremendous ability to be in every game that we play. They're supported by outstanding defense. I don't know if this is still true, but somebody told me we were top 10 nationally in defense or fielding percentage. So you have 2 elements, complementing each other. And offensively, I think we've been challenged with so much good competition that, again, we're prepared for what we will see. And if to do what you asked or said, you're probably going to see somebody that you've seen already. And that's the good thing about surviving, I think I called it like the Royal Rumble, of 11 weeks. You're prepared. Like last year, we played one of the best teams in the country outside the league, and hey man, they got a 2-strike hit, and they got us by a run. But I was very comfortable with how that team competed in that environment, and that experience, should help this experience, going forward. So those would be the reasons that I would say. are bullpenning today, and it's the most important thing that needs to be done today. I was okay with them not throwing this week because I thought they carried a big load for us during the season. And had we got into extra innings on Saturday, which was possible, I mean, I told Josh Pearson to hit a homer when he pinch hit. It's great coaching advice. We probably would have gone to one of them had we tied the game and gone into extra innings. There would have been no scenario had we played on Sunday that they would not have thrown. At the same time, with how that game kind of went, there was a thought in the back of my mind that if they did not pitch last weekend, it was not going to be the worst thing in the world. And those are tough decisions you have to make. And it turned out that way. And it's one of those, like, not hope, but like it probably is one of those things that turned out for the best, to be honest with you.
Know that I'm it. Slow grind like IT, just know that I'm it. Now I'm back up in my bag, I'm giving them fits. Bounce the bat like John Morant, you know that I'm lit. Making plays like Jack Bash, I'm never gonna sit. Had to be patient, so I waited for the situation. Now that I'm focused, I'ma take it with no hesitation. The hard times that I hated gave me inspiration. Look in the eyes from my kids gave me motivation. Bounce back, can't let
It's a whole lot. All right. We're back here. It's a whole lot more difficult to get the timing down of exits and entrances here without being able to see my producer. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with us this morning.
That's what I was preparing you for every morning. That's why I do it the way that I do it.
Yes.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, that's why you keep me on edge.
That's right.
Yeah, keep me on my toes. I appreciate it. So, yeah, and I appreciate everybody that's hanging out with us here on this this beautiful day. I tell you what, the weather is nice. The sun is shining. I'm looking at palm trees outside right now.
Everyone.
I don't know what his weather's like over there in Baton Rouge, but what it's like.
You're rubbing it in. The weather here is
everyone
ass,
that is watching right now is probably.
It looks like a doomsday. It looks like there's like something bad could happen. So it's not palm trees. It's not the sun. It's like you don't even know if the sun's going to make it out today.
The weather's like that because I'm sitting in Noah's chair right now.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on.
The world is ending.
Yeah.
Look at that. Are you in church?
It is very kind of old timing. Like I'll tell you what, when I got here, I didn't really know what to expect whenever, we booked this place. Like I didn't know what it was going to be, and it's a lot more than I thought. Like it is massive. Like a big old place with it's got all this artwork and stuff all up around the place. But as much as it's enjoyable, I'm ready to get back to Baton Rouge later this week and watch some postseason baseball. That's what's on my timeline. I tell you what, as much as I want to enjoy the Bahamas,
you know how sick
it's
that
hard
is?
when baseball's on the
That is
horizon.
actually-
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've heard a lot. Some of my friends were like, "You ready for this weekend?" I was like, "Guys, LSU baseball plays." And I'm like on Friday, and I'm going to be flying back. Like I don't know what
You get back
like,
Saturday?
My flight is like game. No, I get back Friday night.
Oh, nice.
My flight is like at game time on Saturday.
You might
So,
catch
like,
game
I'm in
two
on
of the
Friday.
regional.
Yeah, you can catch game 2.
Yeah,
Game-
no, I
game
mean, I'll be
two?
back for game 2, but it's just nobody. Who cares? I want to watch game 1. I want to watch every game.
But and Jay gave you the shaft, doing that. You know how quickly he gobbled up that afternoon time.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you
Oh
guys
my
about.
gosh.
I mean, what are y'all thoughts on playing that game and during the day?
He's
Of
obsessed
course.
with day games.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
but
I mean,
he talked about it
when
yesterday.
when the weather is a factor,
Exactly.
you have to you got to play it. You got to play the day game. I'm for it. I mean, it sucks for me because I'm going to be on an airplane with only God knows what I'll be able to watch.
Oh, you better get that Wi-Fi from
I wish
Papa.
I could. Well, yeah, I know. I'm going to put him in a freaking chokehold and get that Wi-Fi so I can watch the Tigers. Because I'm a little upset that he chose the day game, because if it would have been a night game, I probably would have been able to catch it. But no, I mean, I'm for it. Like, look, you want to play your game. The last thing you want to happen is you throw Cade and you have to take him out because it starts raining.
Exactly.
Who knows what the weather's going to look like on this weekend? I haven't
scared.
checked what the weather will be. It says Friday a 40% chance of rain, starting later in the day. So I mean, you get that game over with,
which is scary,
and you move on. I'm for it.
Like,
you don't want to play with the weather.
Like Noah, Jay talked a good bit about it yesterday at his press conference, and he said he actually discussed with Skip a couple years back in 23 when they first hosted that regional. He asked what Skip would rather do, like when in his time with LSU, and he said the weather is so spotty that you really just want to get the games in, right? Like you want to get the games in, and so that's why Jay likes playing during the day. And then he used an example of we can even use 23 as an example. So LSU played their first game against Tulane, and they got it through, but the second game was at night, and that was Oregon State and Sam Houston. Well, that game rained out, I want to say, and they had to play 2 in the morning on that Saturday. So for both of those teams, it's like you lose that one, and you have to go play right away, probably with not much sleep because you're still around the ballpark all night. It just makes no sense, right? Like it feels like you lose a lot of momentum if you play that second game, and you not only lose the first game, but you have to go in quick turnaround, play the next morning, especially if there was a rain delay. Like if you're playing all night, that just sucks.
Yeah, you don't want to set yourself up just because you're looking for the perfect storm or the perfect scenario to have regional baseball at the box at night. It's like I want to be able to play baseball because if this year has been any indication, or 23, Baton Rouge, it's the most fickle weather place on the planet.
Yeah. Don't play with that weather.
Yeah,
don't play with it.
So just get your game in. Because there's probably a good chance that something's going to happen during this super regional run if they're able to get there.
Right. Well, and on top of that, to get rid of the coach speak, and from my mind, knock this game out. I mean, just go ahead and play the game, knock it out, and see what happens after that. I mean, it's LSU versus Arkansas, Little Rock. I mean, yes, it's baseball. Anybody can beat anybody. Mm-hmm. Just go ahead out there. If you're pitching Kate Anderson, knock this game out. Get ready to go for Saturday, and the game between whoever you have to face.
Knock it out, and then
not to get too fan speak too much away from the professionality and coach speak ideas, but don't play with the weather. Obviously, that's not coach speak. That's real. Like the weather's a real thing. Like it's not like coaches are just saying that to cover up for something. Like the weather discussion is a real thing. Like you do not want to play with the Louisiana weather when it was like double-digit games that have been weather delayed for LSU this season, where you look back at, what was it? Oklahoma got pushed back. Mississippi State had weather delays. Tennessee, Arkansas. Like you've had all these games that the weather has been a factor. You need to take that into account, and that's what Jay did, and more power to him. And from my standpoint, from a non-coach speak professional way, just knock that game out, get it over with.
Yeah, because you're going up against a team in Arkansas Little Rock. Like I'm looking at the numbers that were put in this doc, which is they're not the most awe-inspiring that we've seen from a baseball team.
No. They're so bad. I'm telling you now, like they are that bad. I put that. I think I put in my notes like they are pretty bad. But
they're ass. But.
Yeah, but I mean you get the first game out the way. And what Jay loves to do, he loves to go in the press box and he loves to chart like the next game. He would do that for all the round robins at Alec Box, even when that was against like VMI in Central Connecticut. Like that's what he does. That's how he scouts. That allows him to go that night and with his staff, he goes up and he can chart, and that helps them out because it gives them a jump on scouting. So
he doesn't have to do it at 11:30 at night. You can dock it out during the day.
Not only that, but you don't have to worry about playing another game that day. Like the other team, like the second game that Friday, people really can't scout. You can't scout that first game because you're worried about playing your own game.
Yeah.
So it's a big advantage, I would say, in that aspect too.
Yeah, because you're going up against a Arkansas Little Rock team that has a team ERA of 6.3, team batting average of world beating at 270. So that's what I say. If you throw Kate Anderson in the afternoon, be able to take care of business, you shouldn't. There's really no
dude. Q1, 1 and 2, and that was it. They played Q4 teams for the rest of the year.
They shouldn't be here.
No,
they
and they know that too.
Yeah, but that's what's also what's scary.
Cinderella run, and they got in.
They were throwing a little cake party yesterday at the selection show.
Yeah, they were fired up.
That was their Super Bowl was the selection show.
Well, now they get to travel to Alec Box Stadium and play against LSU, and
it's a win-win for those seniors.
For those guys. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
they're happy.
Exactly.
I mean, but they're still going to want to win. They're not going to just roll over and be like, oh, well, we made it to Alley Box. This is the dance. No, I mean, they're going to try to go out there and make a statement.
And they very well could.
Look at those numbers. I mean,
you've seen it. You've seen Stony Brook. You've seen Coastal Carolina come into the box and steal something from you that you were like, how is this happening? And then you see both those teams going to win a College World Series. I don't know about that for Arkansas Little Rock, but it's really not at your best.
You don't want to discount it.
No, obviously,
it's playoff baseball,
and they won't. They won't.
No.
They won't overlook. Like those guys are so locked in right now. But I'm more curious to see who Little Rock's going to throw. They do have a pitcher that has 90 strikeouts on the year with only 32 walks, and I say only, but that's a good ratio. I think his name's Jackson Wells.
Yeah,
he's usually their Saturday guy, but their game one guy is another right-hander. So the good news, you won't face a left-hander probably until you get to their bullpen,
which has been the strategy against
LSU
LSU all
you'll
year.
See, yeah, that's the kryptonite, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
is people are trying to throw as many lefties as they can against LSU, and I guess you'll get a real look at what Little Rock's mindset is depending on who they do pitch. Like if they throw their ace with the 90 strikeouts, or if they go another direction. I don't know. I mean, to me, I would be surprised if they do pitch off, because like if you pitch off, you're playing to try to win the regional and win in 2 games against probably LSU later at a later time. So I would be surprised if they do that. I would assume they're going to throw their best guy at LSU and see if they can steal a win in Alley Box against the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're going to throw. And that's what those 4 teams do. They just
shut that kid up. It's one kid.
Known kid hater.
Yeah, absolutely, I am. Like this is why. Like, I mean, what are you screaming about? What? What can we get you?
In your life?
Mom
Look at where you're at.
Yeah.
Mom didn't let him have
right
pancakes.
You're in the Atlantis. I wasn't doing that when I was 4.
No,
you
got
the belt.
Shores.
You got the belt.
I was about to say my mother would whip my ass.
Went to the levee.
Yeah.
That's where I went on vacation. We went and looked to the Mississippi River.
Why don't you go to a different room in the house?
Enjoy the Bahamas.
Why don't you go outside?
Touch some grass.
Yeah.
You have a pond in your backyard.
You can go to a friend's house.
Go fishing. Yeah.
Yeah, your friends have a pool. Your grandparents have
That's
a pool.
vacation.
Go to False River for a few nights.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, False River. Don't.
Nah, man, I like False River, man.
These kids gotta understand what they're living in here at the Bahamas.
I'm telling you, man.
They won't even remember it. Like, what's the point of bringing them?
Yeah, like
you're making your life
right.
worse.
Well, so part of me feels bad for my parents, because like all of Max's friends that are on, this is Max's senior trip, so all that his friends' parents are younger than my parents because they don't have older siblings, and so most of them just like left the littles, I guess, with their parents or nanny or whatever, and they're just like their sons, at the other condo, and they're just on a couple's vacation. My parents brought me and my older sister, and so Max is with his buddies, and they're just bringing their 2 grown children around everywhere.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with that.
You're stealing a vacation.
Yeah, it's a family vacation at that point. Like,
that's the funny
there's
thing.
nothing
Like,
wrong with that.
One of the other parents was at the airport yesterday. He was like, no, how'd you talk your parents into this? I was like, I mean, I really didn't have to. They were kind of like, you want to come? I was like, yeah, why not? This is taking away our family vacation. So everybody else, like, it's just funny because all the other parents are just enjoying their like couples retreat, and my parents have their 25 and 23-year-old child in the room with them.
That's awesome.
I love that you're all in the same room. That's the kicker of like, this is a family vacation.
I mean, you had to spend the money to make sure Max could have everything he wants, of course. The baby of the, I didn't even get a senior trip. Let's make sure we spend as much money as we can for Max to enjoy his. And so to make sure we do that, we're just going to go
shove you in a broom closet.
In the same room. Yeah. We're just going to sleep on the floor. You can make a pallet.
We're going to shut that kid up.
Bring your sleeping bag, buddy.
Yeah.
No,
or you can go to the casino.
Out, but they're really all hanging out right here to my right.
That's what I kind of thought. Yeah.
It's about 8 children. Yeah.
Wow.
Not good.
Hey, you put eight of those children on a flight.
They did. Imagine, that's not what you want to have happen.
That sounds terrible.
No.
Pass on
I don't
that.
even remember what
But,
we're talking about.
Let's get back to baseball, huh?
I just
Let's get
remember
back
we were
to
talking
baseball.
about how bad Little Rock is. I will say, though,
Yeah.
their hitting is pretty awful. They strike out a lot, which is great news if you're Kate Anderson.
This is a question I'll pose. How high will your concern level get if LSU doesn't go out there and just the offense explodes against Little Rock on Friday? Like if they score 5 runs against Little Rock on Friday night, is it going to be more of, well, they didn't really have to do any, they didn't have to do that because Anderson's on the mound and they shut him out? Or is it going to be like, oh, LSU can't hit against
They can't even
Little
get a hit
Rock's
off
pitching.
Little
How do
Rock.
they expect to win against Clemson or Kentucky next weekend?
And you're going to hear that
Yeah.
no matter what. Like, no matter
Right.
what happens. They could score freaking 14 runs in game 1. They'd be like, save some for Saturday, please. Like, you're going to have people complaining
people
no matter
will
what.
bitch no matter what.
It's
But that said, I would like to see LSU be able to put
7
some runs on
I'd
the
say
board.
crush the baseball.
7 or
let's
8
get-
runs
get,
at least.
Get
yeah.
back to kind of playing your style of ball.
Get back to 10 runs. Get back to 10 runs a game.
Yeah, because when it's
Like,
good, it's
against
great.
These level of teams. Yeah, get against this level of
I'm
a
not
team.
I'm not asking for
score
homers.
10 runs.
I'm asking for runs, not homers.
No,
like just
score.
Hit the ball.
So that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
You see 85 all weekend, man.
that's
Well,
bad. That's
not-
below the hitting zone.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be hard to get one out.
They
Yeah,
should
but
be,
I
them
think
they
more-
should be
85.
crushing
More so
baseballs.
of what they're looking for, I would imagine, or what even I'm looking for is like you want to see that a little bit, that consistency get back to being the norm. Like you want to see Milam get back kind of on the planet. You want to see Bear Jones be able to hit. Like that's what people are going to be looking for. I don't think when they're at their best, it's 1 through 9, putting constant pressure on you and playing baseball from whether it's hit and run, whether it's bunting, whether it's stealing. Like that's when they put it all together. That's when LSU's at its best. So I think that's what you want to see. If it's anything, you don't want to see actually, solo shots, homers that could come in bunches. They're great, but you want to see your team get back to being a little bit more consistent in what they've done offensively. So that's what you would hope to see, where you're scoring, 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs. Like you're putting constant pressure. That's not just one big inning that you saw against A&M, where you get out to a 4-run lead, and then it just kind of starts going away, and you can't hit anymore.
Right.
But when LSU does score early, they usually score often.
That's true.
Yeah. And to take a little trip around, we talked a good bit about LSU's draw and how much we like it. And to really compare that to other ones around the country. I mean,
Yeah.
Southern Miss is the 16 overall seed. They have both Alabama and Miami
Yeah, that's
in
tough.
their Miami of Florida in their regional. Like that's a tough one. Florida State's a really good baseball team. They've got Mississippi State as a 3 seed in theirs, who's playing some really good baseball.
That's
Who they
gonna be
were down
fun.
the stretch. You keep scrolling through. I mean, North Carolina as the 5 seed, have Oklahoma and Nebraska in theirs, which are 2 really solid baseball teams. And when you just keep going, I mean, Auburn has NC State as a 2 seed in theirs. Coastal Carolina got absolutely cooked.
Yeah, poor
Florida
poor
as
guy.
the 2 seed and Eastern Carolina as a 3 seed. And I'm not one to feel bad for Coastal Carolina because of what they've done to my memories, but that is a tough draw.
Yeah.
With like it really sets up for Florida to make it out.
Not
Like,
only that.
if you're going to look at it with a legitimate point of view, your thought process is it looks like Florida is in a position to start their run as they get the draw with Coastal Carolina at 1, Florida 2, ECU 3, and Fairfield. And don't discount ECU.
Fairfield's
Eastern
good,
Carolina, East Carolina. This is a tough draw for Coastal Carolina.
I actually also I didn't feel bad for Texas after all, the conference things, but they don't have an easy regional at all. They have UTSA, who's very solid, and a Kansas State team that played LSU really well too earlier this season. So I think
Right. Yeah,
Kansas State is
that's a tough 3 seed to have.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I don't get?
Ole Miss got a tough draw.
Yeah, UCLA
They've got
getting
Georgia
an easy
Tech
draw.
as a 2 seed in theirs. Yeah. They've got Georgia Tech, who debatably could have been one of those 16 seeds. They were the ACC regular season champions.
Yeah, Ole Miss got a tough draw.
And that's the 2 seed in Ole Miss's draw. Georgia's draw is not too bad. They have Duke and Oklahoma State, who are both good. But when you really look at it, Tennessee has Wake Forest in theirs. Arkansas's draw is not too bad. When you really look at it, LSU got the treatment of the unanimous number 1 team in the country.
Pretty much.
And I
they
would
got
say
lucky.
some of the questions you posed in here, the hardest regional for a national seed, I would say, is Coastal Carolinas. They
Yeah.
just have like that. That's the toughest one when you really look at it. I mean, Coastal Carolina is the 1 seed, and they have Florida and East Carolina, who are both teams that you've seen consistently win in the postseason. Like Florida, it seems like always finds a way to make a run to Omaha, and this is where it kind of begins when you look at that draw.
Yeah, they're one of the hottest teams in the country. And Kevin O'Sullivan,
Right.
I don't think they've missed a regional with him as coach, which is like as much as you hate Kevin O'Sullivan, like that guy is he's going to go down as a Hall of Fame.
No, he's created a machine in Gainesville.
Right.
Like he's
and if
created
only
a machine.
people cared as much for baseball as they like for Gainesville as they do here, Florida would be
Yeah, they have no reason to.
No, they should be a monster.
Care. Yeah, they just don't care about baseball, which is it's beyond me. But I would ask you guys what regional are you all looking forward to watching the most besides like LSU's?
I think that one. I think it's.
That one probably.
Which one, Coastals?
Yeah, Coastal. Because
Coastal, Florida, East Carolina.
You know about, like you said, you mentioned Eastern Carolina. Like you have a former LSU coach in Godwin over there. Like they've put runs together whenever they hosted games. Wherever you get to you go to East Carolina and it's a fun ballpark to play in. The fans are rabid, but that's the one I'm looking at because you keep looking up and down the list of Coastal, East Carolina, Florida, and then on the other side of it, it's like Auburn, NC State.
Yeah.
Like there's really not a break in that whole thing.
No, it's
I
I think Tennessee and Wake Forest is another one that's going to be entertaining because those are two exciting programs, I guess you could say. As LSU's face off against both of them in Omaha 2 years ago.
I picked that Hattiesburg region.
What else?
I picked through Hattiesburg simply just because Alabama
that's
Southern
a good
Miss is going to be really entertaining. And then you have the possibility of Vandy Alabama rematch of earlier this season. That could be cool. The SEC. That I don't know how y'all feel about
Chapel
that.
Hill could be a really good one.
Chapel Hill, I had to.
Chapel Hill. I mean, with North Carolina having both Oklahoma and Nebraska and Holy Cross all in theirs, but Oklahoma and Nebraska, two pretty good teams, and Oklahoma with the pitching they have, like that's where the conversation comes in. They have both Witherspoons, and they were able to win games in the SEC tournament with those guys. So that's a tough draw for North Carolina as well.
Oh, if you're going against an Oklahoma or a Florida State, two teams that have perennial like top picks, like that's what you're scared of. If you're playing against Oklahoma, they're not the best team in the world. They're not somebody that you're outside of Witherspoon on the mound. But guess what? He's going to pitch one game, so it almost feels like it's an automatic loss if you're going against Oklahoma, and they try to set it up to try to win a series. But if you have to play against Witherspoon, it feels like at this point and where he is pitching in his career, it feels like Oklahoma's going to get at least one win, and that kind of throws a wrench into the whole thing.
Yeah, OU.
I'm with you.
Chapel Hill gets not screwed twice in a row, but it feels like they should have been a top 4 seed in my opinion. I think they should have probably been over Auburn, but because like UNC has been lights out this entire season. But not only they got LSU sent to them last year, which was the hottest team in the country, and then you get OU, who has some of the best pitching in the SEC, and it's like a slap in the face for them because it's like, really, 2 years in a row now? Like it's got to suck, right? Like you have to kind of feel for them.
Not after last year.
Well, not after last year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad for them, but it would. If LSU was in their position, it would.
Yeah,
I would be very, very upset.
But it's just SEC bias.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to put
early upset picks.
Aside,
early upset you put in there,
yeah,
and I think the early upset, it's Coastal Carolina, Southern Miss are my two, and I mean they're both they're lower seeds. I mean, Southern Miss is the 16 seed, and Coastal's 13, but I mean they just have some tough draws. But a sneaky one could be Clemson's regional. I'm telling you,
West Virginia.
Like I know it's probably some SEC bias, but both Kentucky and West Virginia are good baseball programs, and like that to me is kind of where it could be tough for Clemson. But I part of me hopes it sets up for LSU Clemson just from the fan base perspective. But that's another one to keep an eye on where there could potentially be an upset.
I said the former Pac-12 teams are probably gonna go down. I said Oregon State. I think they're the 8 seed, right? I think they're gonna get upset in their own regional. I think TCU's playing pissed off right now, and I also think Arizona is gonna beat Oregon in their regional. So I have both those. Both those.
That's a tough one.
Big 12 teams, I guess, taking over the former Pac-12.
Big 12.
Yeah, they're independent.
Yeah. I mean Oregon State. I don't understand how they got a national seed, but
get that out of my face. Independent. I don't care. That's so stupid.
Well, that's became the conversation, right? It was like, how does the RPI even work? And then you see it's 25% of your wins, 25% of your common opponent's victories, and then it's like 50% of something else, and then they're all weighted differently depending on where you won. And Oregon State was, I don't want to say gifted, but because they don't have a conference, they have to play the majority of their games on the road. It's like, whoa, this only helps your RPI and LSU as teams come to them because of the weather.
So Jay's probably thinking at this point,
I could go independent.
Or not even independent. He's like, wow, these midweeks, what should I do with these midweeks? Should I go on the road to, say, I don't know.
But he went to Nichols.
I mean, he went to Nichols, but and I will say this: our LSU's RPI would have been so much higher this year if all the Louisiana teams weren't as awful as they were. Like I don't think Southeastern was the best one you played, but Louisiana Tech usually makes the tournament. They were awful this year. UL usually makes the tournament. They were also awful this year.
Yep.
Like you didn't really strike any luck within your, I guess.
Within your state.
Within your state.
Usually, like, Louisiana has great baseball.
Exactly.
They didn't.
And they just didn't. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
you also, like, we'll never know who the team was or who the teams were that he's tried to schedule to play away games and they got canceled. And so he had to.
We'll never know.
Yeah, we had to find a way to
break that. Maybe one day we'll break that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
cool.
That's how you end up playing Omaha at home.
That'd be a good question to ask.
Yeah, and Purdue Fort Wayne in weekend number 1.
Yeah, that's not what he was trying to do. He got, it was whoever it was. I mean, he told you as much as he's going to tell you. He's not going to rat somebody out who's like, I didn't want to play in my first year against LSU. Like, that's fair. But I'll catch you in, 3 years when you have your program established. You owe me one.
Right.
But look back at the weekend they played in, or the week they played in Texas, the Frisco weekend in the Dallas Baptist game. Obviously, DBU is in the tournament in LSU's regional. Mm-hmm. Nebraska, I said, was in. I forgot whose I said they were in. Nebraska's in North Carolina's
they're
regional.
in Chapel Hill. Kansas State is in.
Kansas State.
Austin.
Kansas State's in. And then did Sam Houston State get in or no?
No, they didn't. So they're usually a team that always makes it, but I don't know what happened this year.
But I mean, look back at that weekend and those games. Like 3 of the 4 teams you played in that stretch in Texas are in the tournament. They're postseason baseball teams. So
I think I like the way that Jay Johnson scheduled this year, specifically as far as like the midweeks and the classics, because it was a good test for you in Frisco to start off. It wasn't like overwhelming, like you had to go and play, Arizona or these really tough teams in the second or first weekend of the series, because you don't know what you have, and you don't want to just go throw a bunch of guys out there and
you learn
take a toll to your RPI for no reason, right?
Definitely. Yeah, no, you learned a lot about your team, I think, that weekend, and obviously it's paid dividends looking up, because those are 3 of those 4 teams are playing postseason baseball, and you beat them all. So we're rolling right through hour number 2 here on this Tuesday morning, this international edition of Tingle & Co. Appreciate everybody that's rolling with us and hanging out with us this morning. In both chats, we're still dual streaming. We're live on Tingle & Co. channel and the Jordy Culotta Show channel. Do not forget that starting next week, so when I return, we'll be live next week starting on Monday from the Tingle & Co. channel and the Tingle & Co. channel only. That'll be the only place to find our show and all of our content. And so we appreciate everybody that's been a part of this with us. Make sure that you subscribe over on the Tingle & Co. channel. Hit the bell. You want to test out a little international athletic connections?
I think international. It would only be right.
Oh, wow.
Are you going to be able to see it?
We just have to. I think we're going to have to try and figure that out. I mean, I think if you put it up on the screen, it should come up on my
Yeah, can you see? Do you see this?
my browser here. Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we should be good.
Yeah, let me get a little
First connections here.
Yeah, this is your connection.
Yeah, welcome to the connection. Wow. Welcome to the connections. We're popping your connection. Appreciate you joining us. I will say thank you, Andre, for making it happen, getting in studio this week, helping out.
Man, thank you guys for
massive
allowing me.
help from one of the newest members of the squad, and he was out at the selection show yesterday as well. And sadly, he wasn't able to be a part of the watch party last week, but I'm sure he'll be there and won't miss it anytime soon. So shout out to Andre for stepping up and being a guy this week, and obviously, like I've said, been crushing the document throughout a really good piece of our team that we've added. So thank you very much, Andre.
Thank you guys for allowing me to come on.
Yeah.
We're having fun. We're having fun on this Tuesday.
Amen.
This calm Tuesday.
That's what it's all about.
Get ready.
That's what it's all about. This beautiful Tuesday. But that fun's about to be ruined right here when we get one wrong here on this Athletic Connections. Let's see, I got to get real close to my screen.
Let's
make sure I can see. All right.
Okay. I see 3 off the top.
So I see some nicknames here.
Same.
With SGA, Dame, Spida.
I don't know.
And then I would assume you would go
Joker.
King.
You'd go Joker, right?
Or Joker.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would say Joker probably. King is going to be part of the chess, I think, because I saw Rook and Paul. So go Spida, Dame,
I don't know.
SGA, and Joker.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
There we go. Then I think if we go Knight, King, Rook, and Pawn.
Yeah.
That'll be what's next. There we go.
Rapid.
Yeah. Swift, speedy, rapid flips.
Yeah.
Yep. And then stroke play, power play, match play, double play.
Nice.
Yep. There it is.
That's how we do it
there
here.
you go, man.
I mean, we might be better at it overseas.
That's right.
Might be
Put our
better
brains
at it
together.
overseas.
That was a little too easy.
Yeah, we made that happen. That was good stuff. Well, guys, appreciate y'all getting it up and rolling over at home. I'm about to go back up, change, and go hit the beach. So
the pink beach? Are you going to the pink sand?
Nope. I'm staying away from the Barbie beach. I'm gonna go hit the adult beach. I believe.
They asked if you were going to swim with the pigs.
I haven't seen any pigs yet, but I guess we'll see.
Hey.
Yeah,
We'll
we expect a full report tomorrow.
There was a sea turtle. Yeah, I'll take some
man.
pictures of the video and have it ready for the show tomorrow morning. So
Awesome.
Appreciate you guys holding it down over there.
Yes, sir. All right, see you tomorrow.
Yep. Later, guys. Later everybody.
It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's